All right, today we're going on a pretty wild journey. We're diving deep, deep inside the microscopic world of our own cells to check out one of its most essential but honestly often overlooked powerhouses, the endoplasmic reticulum. I mean, think about it. From the hormones that manage your mood to the proteins that literally rebuild your muscles after you work out, your body is just constantly building, shipping, and recycling stuff. So where does all this incredibly complex manufacturing actually happen? Well, the answer is tucked away inside almost every single one of your cells, in this sprawling, super intricate factory complex. It's responsible for a huge chunk of the production and logistics in your body. And today, we're getting a full factory tour. So this factory, it's called the endoplasmic reticulum, or much easier, the ER for short. It's this massive, dynamic structure that plays an absolutely critical role in the day-to-day life of the cell. Now, the name sounds super complicated, right? But it actually gives us a huge clue about what it is. Endoplasmic just means within the cytoplasm. And reticulum, that means little net, which is a perfect description of what it looks like, this big network of membrane sacs and tubes called cisternae. So try to picture this factory as a series of interconnected tunnels and chambers. The space inside those tunnels is called the ER lumen, and it's kept totally separate from the main factory floor, which is the cytosol. And that separation is key. It creates this controlled environment where all this specialized work can get done without anything else interfering. You know, like any good factory, the ER isn't just one big open space. It actually has two very distinct but connected divisions. Each one has its own look and its own very specific job. So let's meet the smooth ER and the rough ER. Okay, so you can see the key differences right here at a glance. The rough ER looks, well, rough and bumpy because it's covered in these tiny things called ribosomes, and its main gig is making proteins. The smooth ER, on the other hand, doesn't have ribosomes, hence the smooth surface, and it handles a whole bunch of different metabolic tasks. Let's take a closer look at each one. First up, let's head over to the rough ER. You should think of this part as the main assembly line of our factory, the place that's just churning out some of the cell's most important products, proteins. So what about those little bumps that make it look so rough? Those are the ribosomes. They are basically the protein-making machines of the cell. And by attaching directly to the ER membrane, they have a dedicated workspace to build proteins that are headed to very specific locations. So here's how this assembly line really works. A ribosome builds a protein, and if that protein is supposed to be sent out of the cell, it gets threaded directly into the ER lumen. Inside, the protein gets folded up and modified. Then, the ER wraps it up in a little bubble of its own membrane, which then pinches off and gets shipped out. And these little membrane bubbles, they're called transport vesicles. They are literally the cell's shipping containers. They bud off from the ER and carry their precious protein cargo to other places, like the Golgi apparatus, or even all the way to the cell's surface to be exported. But wait, the rough ER does more than just make products. It's also a factory for the factory itself. It produces the proteins and phospholipids that make up its own membrane, which lets it grow and expand. Then, pieces of this new membrane get shipped off in those transport vesicles to supply other parts of the cell. It's amazing. Okay, let's head over to the other side of the factory now, the smooth ER. If the rough ER is the mass production assembly line, then the smooth ER is more like a specialized workshop, handling all the custom jobs and chemical processing. The smooth ER is all about enzymes. Its enzymes are busy synthesizing lipids, like oils and steroids. This is the place where sex hormones and hormones from your adrenal glands are actually made. And, really important, other enzymes here detoxify drugs and poisons, which is exactly why your liver cells are absolutely packed with smooth ER. And here's a fascinating little detail. The smooth ER is so adaptable that in certain specialized cells, it gets a whole new name and a whole new function. In your muscle cells, for instance, it's called the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and its job is to store and then release the calcium ions that trigger your muscles to contract. Pretty cool, right? So we've toured both the big assembly line and the specialized workshop. Let's kind of zoom out now and just appreciate the massive impact this incredible factory has on the entire cellular city. You know, when you put it all together, the endoplasmic reticulum is truly the heart of the cell's entire production system. It builds, it modifies, it packages, and it ships. Without this complex network, the cell just couldn't function, it couldn't grow, and it couldn't communicate. What an amazing system. And it really leaves you with the final thought. If the ER is the factory complex, what are the power plants, the post offices, the recycling centers? The cellular city is a really busy place, and the ER is just one incredible part of it all.